This is Cronkite News.
Arizona is seeing its biggest spike with COVID-19 cases after reopening. The latest numbers are coming up. Transgender minors are finding it harder to receive medical treatment, and proposed legislation could make it even harder. We'll take a look at the impact this could have. While in-person sports are being put on hold for safety reasons, that's not stopping college campuses to find ways around it.
Cronkite News starts now.
Welcome to this Cronkite News Update. I'm Jalpan Nanavati. We're going to start with Arizona's COVID-19 update. Arizona has become a hot spot for COVID-19 cases. The Arizona Health Department reported 1,556 new coronavirus cases, just short of the state's daily high mark, and 25 new deaths on Wednesday morning. The state's total is now at 29,852 cases and 1,095 deaths. Arizona has reached its highest 7-day average of new COVID-19 cases since the beginning of the pandemic. According to Washington Post, the relaxed stay-at-home orders, nationwide protests, and reopening could have had a major role in this. The spike is seen more in rural areas versus metropolitan areas, where it originally started. Over the past week, Arizona's biggest hospital systems are warned that ventilator usage will increase and intensive care units are filling up. Last week, Governor Doug Ducey explained the rise in the cases were expected as Arizona began to reopen. It is said that the governor's office is working with public health officials and community leaders to provide more guidance on reopening. Quote, ensuring businesses return smarter and work to mitigate the spread. In recent weeks, hospitals are adapting to keep beds available as spikes in COVID-19 cases test the system. As of Monday, hospitals reported 76% of ICU beds are occupied. Hospitals are shifting patients from maxed out hospitals to others that have space. But Honor Health John C. Lincoln North Mountain Hospital ICU nurse Austin Copas says they're feeling the strain of more patients.
It's getting worse. Our ICU is now full, and we're supposed to open up other units of the hospital that take care of not ICU patients. So we don't normally have an ICU would be a ventilator. Usually that's like the qualification, or someone that's about to be on the ventilator, because other nurses don't know how to run it. So other units we're now converting into ICUs and fitting them so that they have the right equipment that we need to take care of these patients. I don't know what nurse is going to take care of them.
Mother of George Floyd testified before Congress this morning. This comes 15 days after George Floyd's death in Minneapolis and 1 day after Floyd's funeral. The brother's plea was an effort to prevent more deaths caused by police officers.
I'm tired. I'm tired of pain. Pain you feel when you watch something like that. When you watch your big brother, who you looked up to for your whole life, die begging for his mom. I'm here to ask you to make it stop. Stop the pain. Stop us from being tired.
His testimony is part of the hearing on Democratic legislation to address systemic racism in policing. The Justice Policing Act would ban chokeholds, create a national database to track police misconduct, along with other proposals. Legislation proposed this year across the US aims to restrict medical treatment for transgender youth and potentially criminalize doctors who provide it. Cronkite News reporter Madison LaBerge went to Tucson to visit a clinic that provides such care and talk with those who would be affected.
For 17-year-old FRAN Howard, receiving medical care has not always been easy.
It was just like such a struggle, and it seemed like it felt like I had to prove my identity because my presentation didn't match what they had expected from the treatment that I had requested.
Howard identifies as non-binary genderqueer and uses they/them pronouns.
Just being in a trans body, being in a queer body, and existing in the world is already so difficult, and going to the doctor is just this whole super invasive experience.
When the family moved to Arizona, Fran's mother, Tina Howard, knew they needed to find a community and a doctor where Fran could receive good medical care and also feel heard. This led them to El Rio Health in Tucson, Arizona.
Not only the quality of care, but the interest that they take in legislation, the interest that they take in building community, even outside of the specifications of trans-related health care. This is really about building a safe environment for trans individuals and their family.
This year, legislators in at least 10 states introduced bills to make it harder for transgender minors to get treatment with puberty blockers or hormone therapy. Some proposals would have criminalized doctors who provided such care.
In the states where it's been put forward, be a felony for a doctor to provide transgender care to anyone under 18. It would also make it, in some states, child abuse for parents to allow this for their children.
Those who support such restrictions say they're needed to protect children.
What's happening right now in Florida and around the nation in terms of gender reassignment is really sort of the Wild West. There are no real guidelines. There are no real laws. There is no consent.
The amended bill puts doctors on notice that there are young victims expressing tragic regret. Then let's allow young people who experience regret the chance to pursue civil remedies. We can't give them their bodies back, but we can allow them to seek a remedy through the court system.
So far, none of the bills has become law.
I don't know what you're saving them from. It really is just sort of invasively telling them what they can do to their bodies.
With bills like that being passed, people will die. Kids will die. I personally can't imagine that without the support of my family and without medical intervention that I would still be here today. And that is true for a lot of kids.
No such proposal was introduced here in Arizona, but the State House did pass a measure to ban transgender students from participating in girls' sports. That bill stalled in the Senate. In Tucson, Madison LaBerge, Cronkite News.
Wildfires have been spreading across the state, and northern Arizona is taking extra precautions and expanding their fire restrictions. From Tucson to Flagstaff, we have seen multiple wildfires break out, with more than 800 fires this year already, in comparison to 619 at this time last year. This map shows where the wildfires are across Arizona. Because of dry conditions, northern Arizona will join many other areas in the state with increased precautions. The fire restrictions are set to go into effect June 13 for the entire Coconino and Kaibab National Forests. They also limit where visitors can smoke and the use of internal combustion power tools like chainsaws. The state is in the midst of what's typically one of the driest times of the year ahead of the monsoon season. Esports is becoming more visible on college campuses. Arizona State University is the latest to level up in a growing sport. Cronkite News reporter Jackson Latteray shows the rise of a new facility.
But now, let's take a look at ASU.
The esports industry is growing, grossing over $1 billion in 2019 according to Forbes. And after several years, Arizona State University is making an investment of its own.
With everything, it just takes one person who takes interest. And in our case, it was an entire department who took interest in us.
And that department is the School of Arts, Media, and Engineering at ASU's Herberger Institute for Design and the Arts, which is working with ASU Esports to create a facility on the Tempe campus.
Now, it's no secret that when you want to play some of your favorite video games, it can kind of take a village. But when this facility opens up, you'll have everything you need to jump right into the game.
To be 12 computers, so 6 and 6, which is enough for Overwatch and most other esports. Just 6 computer stations, 6 chairs, and then we're hoping to have at least 1 or 2 TVs in there that we can have like watching streams or people are doing VOD reviews.
The facility is expected by ASU Esports to rival the likes of Grand Canyon University or Cal Berkeley, who already have state-of-the-art esports centers on their respective campuses for competitors and amateurs to take part in esports together.
I think it's just going to be a great place for the entire club, really, to get a different feel than just normal playing online type of feeling.
The journey to this new facility began in 2016 when ASU won the Heroes of the Dorm tournament. The tournament was the first big launch point for the organization. After falling short the year before, the team returned, defeating over 400 teams on the way to a national championship, $75,000 each, and recognition from the university. The facility isn't just for training teams and helping recruit more members. It's for building a strong esports community at ASU.
I hope with this project is that it's going to be a place for people to kind of center around esports on campus, similar to how the bottom of the MU has all those TVs that you can watch like sports and everything else.
The facility is expected to be ready for launch in the fall, and a new era for the ASU Esports Association will begin. Jackson Latteray, Cronkite News.
The facility isn't the first bit of recognition to take place, with a practice room for the competitive teams and an on-campus housing facility. But this new facility will be for use of the entire organization. That's it for this edition of Cronkite News. For Arizona news updates throughout the day, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and find us online at cronkitenews.azpps.org.